So guys, the DD trial has been on for a while now, and I'm sure a number of you must have seen, heard, read something about it. And this topic or this trial brought about the conversations about power, abuse, and accountability, especially for we ladies, we women. I know that this case is very difficult and can be sensitive. So I was like, what, let's talk about this case, because I feel it's time for we as young ladies, women, girls, to wake up and protect ourselves. Do not let life, society, and men teach you hard lessons. I understand and I know that some of us must have been tutored or brought up or taught that we need to endure, we should be silent, we should be quiet. Perhaps if we love the man much more, or if we love him enough, it will be able to solve the issue or to make everything okay. But I'm here to tell you that life doesn't work that way. Any man who isn't able to respect himself would not be able to get something good for you, or something tangible out of the relationship. If you have a man who is not able to respect himself, wants something better for himself, or even know better, you will not be able to get anything. So it's not about loving him enough. And I also feel like we as ladies need to come to a point where we are super scared of losing ourselves more than we are when it comes to losing a man. So this trial has brought up a lot of things that I was like, what, we need to have this conversation, because I feel so many young girls growing up feeling or having the mindset that men are supposed to be protectors, men are supposed to be providers, but protectors most especially with regards to this case, in the sense that as a young lady, as a woman, as a girl, you don't get to know life for yourself, and you just expect or you believe that every man or every person you come across should have your best interest in heart, or should be able to treat you the way life is supposed to happen. And we all know that our society is very far from that, and this life that we live is very far from that. So I'm just here to urge anybody listening to me, you must not even be a woman, you must know a woman in your life, you must have a woman in your life, a girl, a lady, doesn't matter. We need to have these conversations where we get to know better so we can do better, and that's what brings me to my topic today of not guilty, but what about her? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to this channel, my name is Victoria, and over here we touch on real life issues. We get to touch on things to try to build ourselves, how to know better so we can do better, just helping each and every one of us, including myself, to grow and see different perspectives in life. So if you're new to my channel, welcome here, and to my returning viewers as well, welcome back. Today I just wanted to touch on this sensitive topic. I know that this topic can be sensitive and some of you might not be comfortable with some of the things I'll be saying, but please just bear with me. Just try and listen to what I have to say to the end, or till the end. Anyway, speaking about this belief system or this mindset, personally, I feel as though a lot of girls, ladies, women, we grow up thinking and believing that we, not necessarily that we don't want to know or we choose not to know, but not just knowing. And you cannot thrive, you cannot rise in ignorance. Nothing is done from a place of ignorance. Whatever you don't know is bigger than you. What you don't know, you don't know. And when you don't go out in search of the truth or search of how our life works or how our society works, you will tend to learn the hard lessons. And we must not necessarily go through life to learn hard lessons. We can learn from other people. We can learn from other people's experience. We can learn from what people are telling us, mentors, people who have gone ahead of us, people who seem to know better. We don't have to learn through the hard way in life. And this is why it is so important for people to talk about this topic, to touch on this topic, especially when it has to do with knowing better and accountability when it comes to women and ladies, especially in relationships, because it is so obvious right now that in our world that there are so many people that will not have your best interests at heart. And it is very important that we as ladies come to a point where, and this video is not to bash me, because Of course, there's no generalization. There are lots and lots of men. I've experienced such men personally in my life who are there to protect, uplift, and cheer us. But in as much as those are there, we still have a large majority of men or people who do not have your best interest at heart. So it is very, very important for us to be discerning, to be able to recognize red flags, to be able to see manipulation, control, to be able to recognize them and run away before we get ourselves too deep into it. Because especially when they revolve around this power, money, status, it is very, very, very difficult to see a situation where abuse is not involved. So if you don't know better, if you don't go out to figure out how you should operate in our world, knowing how to operate in our world is a different thing from understanding the world, because you need to understand something before you can operate in it, So I just felt like I need to touch on this topic because a lot of young girls keep falling prey for men, especially men with power, status, money, all of that, and that is very preventable, 100% very preventable, if only we try to know what is best or what is right, So, as a young girl listening to me today, it is all your responsibility, it is your responsibility 100% to try and figure out what you need to do, the signs to look out for. It is understandable where it is very difficult and draining, where it's like every relationship you enter, you have to always have your guard up, you have to always go through this and that, understandably, but it is all for your benefit, because just as we've seen in this trial, when the verdict is not guilty, what about her? You're the one who is left to deal with the pain, the trauma. Only you truly know the kind of abuse, the kind of things you had to endure. No one else had to endure that with you, only you. So in a case like this, it's like you can never win, because regardless of how it happened, what the situation it was like, society does not care. Society will keep asking, especially in this trial, what was she doing there? Why did she stay that long? Oh no, they stayed for the money, they stayed for that. And if you understand abuse, you know that abuse does not work that way. It's not about, oh, I have the money. Yes, there are cases like that, but it's not necessarily about that. So you don't have to go into that situation where you get to lose yourself, you lose your sanity, and you're so lost in this trauma that you can't turn back the hands of time, and you are left to deal with it till the day you die. So there are so many ways we can prevent this, and this is going to be a very short video because I've touched on this a little in one of my videos. I'm going to add it towards the end of this video. So I was just like, with regards this trial, it just got something burning in me that I was like, what, we need to have this conversation. And I wish more people could have this conversation where we teach young girls, we teach ladies, we teach women, because it's got nothing to do with age, it's got nothing to do with exposure, it's just not knowing. If you don't know, especially young ladies that are from the ages of 18, it's very, very, very easy, especially when you meet older guys. And this comes back to the conversation of younger girls dating super old men. Do whatever works for you. I would not be the one to advise you how to live your life. Do what works for you, but it is really, really important to understand the pros and cons in some situations we get ourselves, because at the end of the day, we are the only ones who get burnt. We're the only ones who are left to deal with the trauma, the pain. And if you don't know better, funny enough, even if you don't know better, sometimes our spirit might not know the right thing or how it's supposed to be. Like, let's say for example, in a relationship, you're going through domestic violence, you're going through manipulation, you're going through, or you're with someone who is narcissistic. All of those things, you might not understand how an actual relationship will function, but your spirit will let you know that you don't understand what is going on, but something is not right. Life is not supposed to be like this. You don't know how it is done, but life is not supposed to be like this. So it is really important that we learn to know more. Like, we go out there to search what is right, what is not, because there are so many people today in this our world who are willing to take advantage of you if you let it, if you don't let it. So this is a message to every young girl that is listening to me. It is your responsibility 100% to be able to know the kind of person you're getting into a relationship with, to be able to to have a discerning spirit, to be able to recognize red flags, manipulation, control, all of these things, and run before we get so soaked into it. Because these things, I've noticed that over time, you just let yourself get so beaten down to the point where it feels like you can do nothing, you're so powerless. And that's how men in this situation, and this video, as I said, for your information, it's not to bash men, but this is just reality. This is the world we live in. If you don't know better, the world, the society will just treat you anyhow you let them. And how can we know better? What are some ways we can know better? The first thing would be to listen to your gut. Guys, our gut is our first self-defense. Do not ignore your gut, because that's the one thing that I noticed in this life, that ignoring your gut costs you a lot, like so much when you ignore your gut. So do never ignore your gut feeling. That's why I spoke towards the aspect of our spirit. You might not know what is acceptable, you might not know how things are done, but your spirit will always tell you that things are not supposed to be like this. Life is not supposed to be like this. Love is not supposed to be like this. Listen to that voice. Don't let yourself get in so deep where it seems like you're hopeless, you have no one to talk to, you feel powerless. It is very important to listen to your gut. The next way we can empower ourselves is to set boundaries, guys. Boundaries are not there just for the sake of boundaries. I keep saying this. Boundaries are there to protect yourself. Boundaries are there for protection. People don't just wake up one morning and be like, oh, that's my boundary. No, boundaries are put in place for a reason. They are there for your protection. So it's very important to set boundaries. Whatever doesn't seem right to you, whatever seems off, whatever seems like you're not in for it, you don't agree with it, you don't accept it, it is important to point it out early on. Guys, the most heartbreaking thing just happened to me. I was 14 minutes into my recording and I finished recording the video from start to finish. Got up to pause the video only to realize that it was saying something about memory, and right now it's raining. So I'm smiling, but deep down I'm crying and I'm just so pained. Like, this is one of the most painful things that could happen to you, and right now it's raining. I don't know if you guys can hear the rain, so please just bear with me. So today's video does not go to waste because it's currently 9:40 p.m. I'm trying my best, but anyways, guys, talking about setting boundaries, as I was saying earlier on, you don't know the lengths people will go to once they realize that they can cross your boundaries over and over again. Another way we can protect ourselves would be to build our power. That is figuring out life for ourselves, which boils down to this same self-development, your career path, what you want to do in life, stability, finances, power, status. Having all of that for yourself helps you to not fall into that trap where someone else is holding you at ransom due to their power, their status, or whatever. I'm sorry for this rain, honestly. Like, oh my god, this is one of those days where I just wish I could, just let everything be and just, go and sleep or something. But anyways, talking about power, yes, it's very important, because things like this, like the abuse, the control, the power imbalance, it stems for all these things where you're not able to fend for yourself, you don't have any stability. Without this person, it feels like you're nobody, or you have no one, or you can't even make it in life without this person. So building your own power also helps you so much and prevents you from being in situations where people just treat you anyhow. And sometimes it's not even necessarily people. Sometimes you might find yourself in unfortunate situations where you're ready for someone to cross your boundaries, because at the end of the day, this is someone that takes care of you, does everything for you, shows you love and all of that, without seeing the bigger picture, or without being discerning enough to see that you're selling yourself short at the expense of being able to build your power. Having something for yourself, no matter how little, saves you from being in that position where you feel so helpless because this person is your all in all or does everything for you. The next way we can empower ourselves is to surround ourselves with support. I've mentioned this in a number of my videos, and I'll say this again, that manipulators, narcissists, abusers, all these people, they thrive on going to, there are certain people who they classify as their victims, or when choosing partners, there are certain people they go for because they know that People like that are naive, could be ignorance, could be, as I said, naivety, could be just anything, you know. So especially knowing that you have no support, you have no one to tell you that, you know, what this person is doing to you is not proper, how this person is treating you is not right, helping you see your worth in times where you're not able to see it. And another thing is be open to listen to people, because I find it that with how complicated the situation is, it's very difficult sometimes where you're telling your friend or your loved ones that this situation you're in is terrible, or is not helping you, or is to your detriment, but we don't tend to listen for one reason or another. So another thing is being open. Aside having support system, be able to listen to that support system, because sometimes people can be telling you something and you might not agree with it, because you know you don't want to lose the love, you don't want to lose the person, without wanting to see the bigger picture. So people like narcissists, abusers, manipulators, they feed on people that have no support system, because no one is there to help them, no one is there to guide them, no one is there to even draw their attention to things that they can't see. Because it's very important to know that one person does not have all the answers. One person cannot see every perspective or aspect to life. So it's really important to have a support system. When you don't have any support system, that's like a playing ground for manipulators, narcissists, and all of that. So yeah, having a support system is one way you can empower yourself. Another would be, you know, knowing how to call for support or how to call for help. Like for example, lines for domestic violence, could be anything. Just try to get conversant with what works in your country, in your region, what numbers to reach out to. So in places or times where you feel so hopeless and helpless, you can reach out to people like this. Guys, I'm really sorry for today's video, the rain and all of that. Just bear with me, because today is not working and I'm really trying my best to make it work. But anyways guys, I really thought that we needed to touch on this subject, because this is something that has been weighing on my mind a lot, considering the fact that I've followed this trial from the beginning to where it's at currently. I've been following it, and it boils down to naivety, not knowing better and all of that. You know, yes, we have the power side and all of that, but if only they knew better, if only they knew better, let's just say that if only they knew better, you know, if ignorance was not there. Because guys, you cannot thrive in ignorance, you cannot soar high in ignorance. Nothing can be done in ignorance, and if you don't know, you don't know. That is why it is very important that I wish more people will come out to let younger ladies know that it is your responsibility to know better, because everyone is willing to treat you anyhow, even when you don't let them. And our world is already so fair where you don't get justice. The justice system doesn't help, the court will not help you. Coming from someone who is an avid watcher of Judge Judy, she always says it that the court does not get involved in relationships. Courts have no business in relationships. Either you're married or you're not married. So please, save yourself, because no one is going to save you. Society will ask you questions like, what were you doing there? You stayed there for the money. And as sad as unfair it is, that is just the sad reality we live in. That is why I will keep saying we need to encourage one another that as a young lady, don't go into life expecting that every person you come across or every man you come across has your best interest in heart, regardless of whatever role they take up in your life. It is very important to know what is right, what is true, what serves you and what doesn't, and align that with whoever it is that you're dealing with. And this doesn't just stop in relationships, but particularly relationships. But anyways guys, let's move into what I've been watching and listening to this week. For this week, what I've been listening to, I've actually not been listening to songs, because as I said earlier on, Nigeria has been so stressful that I don't even remember that there is what they call it, there is something like songs. So I've not really been listening to songs. And if you're new to my channel, I do have a playlist where I get to share with you guys my music, saying that I'm an avid music lover. I have Victoria's playlist where I get to share my African songs, amapiano, Afrobeats, you know, a mixture of every African genre I love and I listen to. Then I have the V Blues, and V Blues is for every international songs, every international artist I vibe with, I love, I listen to their songs. And then I have gospel music, which comprises of both African and international. Every gospel music that I really love have substance to it. So yeah, I get to share my playlist with you guys. So if you're new to my channel, as side topic of the week, I get to share what I've been listening to, what I've been watching, quote of the week, and what I've been watching this week. The first on my list will be Squid Game season 3. I was able to binge watch Squid Game season 3, and for season 3, this is me speaking in comparison to season 1 and season 2. I will give it a 6.5 out of 10 because I feel like the storyline was just there. It was disappointing to see the lead actor die, you know. I know that it's a movie and we will not always get what we want, but you know, it was still thrilling. It still had the suspense and all of that. But overall, I would say it's a 6.5 out of 10. And I saw towards the end there was like a nudge to another part, possibly a season 4. I don't know, time will tell. And then the next that I've been watching would be The Old Guard 2. The Old Guard 2 is another disappointing movie that came out because it's like we waited for so long for part 2 to come out, and for part 2 to come out, the storyline had not much substance, and then to end the way it ended, guys, I even went on Flixstore and I realized that the rating keeps dropping and dropping, and last I checked it was on 5.8. so I could tell that I was not the only one who was disappointed. It's just so disappointing, and having to wait for almost 2 years for the next season is like, this part did not even show. There was not so much story to it, there's not so much to it, and then having to wait for more than a year for the next part is like, I wish they just kept it. The next on my list would be The Real Housewives of Potomac. I finally finished season 5, guys. I know I am old to the Real Housewives franchise. That's what I've been watching as well. So I finally finished Reunion, and I'll be starting season 6 very soon. The next on my list would be Love Island, both USA and UK. Those are shows that I feel like that's what has been catching most of my attention because they release episodes daily and I'm always wanting to know what's happening next. And I promised myself to not bash Love Island today because I feel like I sit down here and like, oh, Love Island is this, Love Island, but tomorrow I'll still go and watch it, you know. But it's really a fascinating TV show, and let's just leave it at the fact that I'm just a huge fan of reality TV, so that is why I get to watch and somewhat enjoy these Indian TV shows. The next on my list would be America's Got Talent. This is also something I've been watching. Their current season is 20th, or they are celebrating 20 years of America's Got Talent. So we are currently on season 20, and I'm currently on episode 5. America's Got Talent is one, would I say show, I don't know what to call it, that I really love because it keeps my dream alive, it keeps my spirit alive, you know. It just makes me hopeful, it makes me feel alive, you know, seeing people achieve their dreams, having that notion that, you know, one day I get to achieve mine as well, and also the encouragement that, you know, regardless of how long it takes, if you set your mind, there's nothing you will not be able to achieve. So yeah, America's Got Talent does that for me, and I really enjoy it. And so far there's this dance group, I've forgotten their name, and they couldn't pass through because Mel B and Harry said no, and it was one of the most heartbreaking things to happen because it's like, what are you saying that we are not saying, you know? And having them go back even after pouring their hearts, the years or months of dedication, practice, all of that into consideration, and they still got turned down, that Simon had to go tell them, you know, talk to them that they need to go back home with their head held high up and not feeling down because they really delivered. So yeah, that's all I've been watching. And then for our quote of this week, let's move into our quote for this week. What's our quote for this week? So our quote for this week is titled, "You will rise again." Guys, I get to share this quote of the week as some form of encouragement to you guys and for myself as well. So it goes, somewhere along the path of life, you will get crushed by its demands and unpredictability. You will hit the wall. You will feel hopeless, sad, you will feel alone. You will question every decision you've made. You will wonder if you are really where you're meant to be or if you've lost your way entirely. And sometimes everything will feel like too much, like nothing is working, like you're standing still while the world keeps moving. But I hope that in such times, you will remember that you will be okay, that the waves and the winds will eventually settle, that these moments, just like seasons, don't last forever. You won't always feel like this. You will not be hopeless forever. You will not be stuck here forever. And even when it's hard to believe, you are not alone. You will rise again. You will find your way through life. You will look back with tears of joy, seeing how far you've come. And this is me just saying, even when you feel so alone, if you feel like you don't have anyone to talk to, share your problems, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always here to share a listening ear, a shoulder to lean on. So just remember that you're not alone and you're stronger than you think. So guys, yes, just to remind you and encourage you once more that you're stronger than you think, and being soft or quiet doesn't equate to being stupid, and being nurturing doesn't equate to you being naive. Guys, please look out for yourself. The society will not look out for you. There's no justice for you in the world if you don't take care of yourself. You will be the one at the receiving end where even the trauma, the pain, all that is accumulated, you're only left to deal with it by yourself. You can have the support system all you want, but internally, only you truly feels the pain, the trauma, and all of that. And these traumas can be avoided, it's avoidable. So I just want to urge anyone listening to me, even if you're not a girl, if you have any woman in your life, please look out for the woman there. Let her know that it is her responsibility to know better, because everything, our world is built in such a way where if you're not alert, everyone is trying to get at you. So please, protect yourself. It's better to be protected than to be sorry. In as much as this topic is very sensitive, I hope I didn't come across as cold or not understanding. I just hope you're able to understand my message and you're willing to take one step today, because one step that I've always done for myself would be that setting boundaries. I'm someone who I've practiced so much that I could be in the midst of 50 people and still be able to share my displeasure. I am someone that if I find myself in a house party of 50 people and they want us to play a game and they're like, everyone must take alcohol, I'm that person who is willing to stand in the presence of 50 people to tell them, I am not taking the alcohol. It's either we play the game like that or I'm not taking the alcohol. And it didn't just come to me overnight. I didn't just wake up one morning and become that person. It started gradually, little by little. Do you want to go out? If I don't feel like going out, no. Do you want to do this? If I don't feel like, no. So gradually. Because sometimes it can be difficult, just as I said, especially if you're with someone or a partner who does literally everything for you. It is really difficult for you to say no to that person sometimes, because it's like, this person does everything for me, literally everything. What is so big in this? After all, even the displeasure is just going to cost me the pain is just for a little while, just satisfy my partner, and that is it, without realizing that it's to our detriment. So please, he who has an ear, let him listen to what I have to say, or another person who knows better is saying. And guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'm really sorry about the sound of the rain. I just hope it added some calmness to the video. But guys, thank you so much for joining me. Please don't forget to like this video if you haven't. Share, subscribe, share to anyone, your sister, your loved ones that you feel need to hear this video or watch this video. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next.